Hello and welcome to the Tuesday night music show.
Yep.
Again. With the same
Another
guys.
Tuesday.
Yeah. It's the same guys as always. Howie.
One every week.
It's
I'm
Jay.
I'm here.
It's myself. And we're here to maybe talk about music. I don't know. You guys want to do a couple pop topics this week?
Sure, whatever.
Sure. Whatever you want.
If you need a minute on this, we'll move on to something else. And I understand if you need a minute on this. We've talked about different albums before from the past that were really good, front to back, or we just enjoyed listening to. Like most of the albums pretty good, whatever.
Sure.
You got any off the top of your head that you'd recommend anybody checking out? Really good album? So they could just check the whole thing out?
Regardless of genre?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is.
You know what? Why don't we do this?
I'm
Top 3
Okay.
Island albums you have to have.
Island.
Okay.
Island.
No, I wasn't going on
Want to
that.
go there? The one that comes to mind first is Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
that
an
was
amazing,
gonna
like
be-
back, like front to back, an amazing album.
I was gonna say like without
You're gonna say Transformer.
live at Budokan, Cheap Trick may not have had a career.
That's a good album.
That's a good album.
very
It's a
good
very
album.
good album. It outdid the original.
I see a theme starting here. Let's continue on with live albums. I would say Peter Frampton Comes Alive.
It comes alive. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Aerosmith live bootleg, and Thin Lizzy live and dangerous.
Well, you burnt up most of the good live albums there.
Okay.
I think there's still
It was
a few in the barrel. You know, I think the thing, Brian, is, you know, and we're very fortunate, you and I and Howie and everyone in the chill room especially, and everyone involved with Disc Jockey News TV. We're constantly going forward into music, and sometimes it's music that we're not into. It might be music we're not even familiar with. I now have a new crate in my, laptop called Tropical House.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was a week ago. I knew all the artists that are in the crate, but I didn't know that this had a heading. So, I'm constantly trying to, like, how do I take the old and the new and bring them together? And I think if I was looking at somebody who might be, let's say, under 40 and is looking for music, because, I have a couple weddings this week and they're asking for things from the 60s all the way through today. What would I want to get to? What would I want to play? And it's things like, CCR and the Stones and the Beatles, and where do you kind of go and find that music and curate that sort of tone? Is there a Beatles album that you'd want to run into?
Well, go ahead, Howie.
The Beatles didn't do a live album that I know of.
No. I'm sorry. I know we started with live, but now
He's got
we just
ADHD
go to
okay.
the studio.
I didn't give an
aspect.
album yet. Jay's already monologuing.
No. I mean, for me personally, it would be Aerosmith, Get Your Wings. I could sit for the rest of my life and listen to that album in its entirety and never once look back and say, I'm missing anything. I absolutely would be happy and satisfied if that's all I had to listen to for the rest of my life.
Well, I wasn't thinking about the ultimate album. I was just thinking about a good album, I mean, when it comes to the one album I had to have on a desert island, I don't know
What would yours be, Brian?
Well, I don't know if this would be the album. I'd have to take about a month and a half to figure that out. But an album I was just thinking about that was really good, and I'd kind of forgotten about how good it was. I talked to you guys about it the other night in the show, was the Billy Idol Rebel Yell album.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot how good it was.
Great
There's
album.
only 8 tracks on it,
It was that
But,
period when there wasn't a lot going on an album.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what you had back then. And 6 of the 8 tracks I truly enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, the other 2 tracks aren't bad songs. They're just not for me,
Right.
But what made me think of it was I was out in the car, excuse me, and I wanted to listen to something different. And I don't normally listen to First Wave on Sirius XM, Richard Blade's channel, who's a nice,
Richard
really
Blade.
nice guy.
Super nice guy. Yeah.
So I'll check it out, because it's new wave. And I'm sorry for anybody out there who digs these artists, but anytime they'll play like Psychedelic Furs or Elvis Costello, I skip the track because I don't enjoy those artists. but I like more of the rock stuff and more of the dance stuff they play. So they played, just to my surprise, a song I hadn't heard probably since 1983 or 1984, Billy Idol, Blue Highway.
Yeah, great song.
And it just was like, it was the right song at the right time. It was 80 degrees. I'm in the car. It's running out great. I got a stretch of road in front of me, and you better believe I started speeding.
Yeah.
It was just a good driving song. It was a good tune. And even, you know, I remember listening to the Rebel Yell album. I have it back here. I bought it when it was new. And I would hear the song, but it wasn't really a song that turned me on. It was okay, you know? But in that moment, there wasn't a song I wanted to hear more than that tune when it was on. It was like the perfect song at the perfect time. It was a surprise, and it was cool.
You know,
So
it occurs to me when you mentioned album. Have you noticed nobody's making albums? It's mostly singles, and then when they have enough singles, they'll make a greatest hits type thing.
Well, the EP is big too.
Yeah, the EP maybe okay, so you get 3-4 songs maybe, but nobody's really making albums.
I don't think people digest music that way. This is the thing why I've always hated iTunes. I hate ratings. Don't tell me if I look at Def Leppard's High and Dry album, don't give me all the bars go to the right side on Bringing on the Heartache, but none of them go to the right side on, you know, Let It Go or Saturday Night or Lady, you know, Midnight or whatever, because those are the tracks I really liked on the album. So you make me feel like I'm inferior in my taste, but you also dictate where I'm supposed to go with music. That's the absolute worst thing you can do with music is tell people what they're supposed to like.
Well, there was a time with albums when an artist put some thought into what track went where. What was the first track? What was the second track?
They had a theme going on.
Exactly.
100%.
Yes.
The one that comes to mind, well, there are a couple that come to mind, but the first one that comes to mind, the first one I noticed that really had a theme where front to back, it was like, okay, this isn't a mistake, was David Bowie, Young Americans. Because it takes you on this ride, and it mellows you out, and it brings you up, and it's gorgeous. It's basically the artist is DJing
Ziggy Stardust too.
Right. Well, all the old Bowie was just an artist, but the thought I was trying to get out here is that the artist is DJing for you with the music they just wrote.
Right.
There's a reason they're in this order. You know,
it's a concept without being a concept. I mean, I have to say, Dark Side of the Moon is the same way. Dark Side of the Moon absolutely paints a picture from beginning to end without a stop.
Yeah, because when I saw it, they did the whole Dark Side of the Moon album, and even, you know, I saw them like 20, 30 times. If they did Dark Side of the Moon, they would do the entire album in order. You know, no different than any of their other albums. If they did that, you know, until Pulse came along, then they mixed it up a bit.
But I mean, I think it's sad for kids now. And when I say kids, I'm talking anyone under 40, because they didn't get to go to, you know, a band that I really love. It's a band called Queensryche. You two may not even know. Okay, you probably heard the name.
Sure. Yeah.
But they had a great album called Operation Mindcrime, which was a concept album, and it was done beginning to end. So there was a strategy. Like, the tracks really didn't end. There was little blurbs and voices, and it was a continuation for an hour. So they toured it as doing Operation Mindcrime from beginning to end. That was a big thing. But I'm also talking in 1990. Today, nobody is coming up with a concept album and saying, look, we're doing this front to back in order, because we're telling a story. I think music is not delivered that way.
You know, a Prince collector. I mean, have been for many years.
The artist Prince. You like
the artist Prince? Yes. Oh. Not like, you know.
Let me make a note of that. I was unaware of this, Brian.
You know,
Brian
not Prince Albert in the can.
And has a YouTube channel. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I remember something that I always wanted to get a hold of, and I could never find, and I'm sure now I could if I wanted to, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I wanted to get the promotional copy of the CD of Prince's Love Sexy. And the reason I wanted the promotional copy of it was because the commercial release of that was not trackable. It was one track. Prince wanted you to listen to that whole thing front to back.
Just go. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Good for
Prince
him.
Love Sexy is one track.
Wow. I didn't
CD.
even know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, he really wanted you to hear it like that.
You know, it's the same concept with, like you were mentioning, Dark Side of the Moon. To try to chop them into individual songs, it's almost impossible because there's always a riff that leads into the next song.
Oh, they all flow. Yeah.
Yeah, they all flow that way.
Sure. I think the Cars debut album was exactly the same way.
There you go.
Yes.
And how about Kick Out the Gems, MC5 live, the
Yes.
live
Now,
version?
yeah. I'm
Okay.
familiar with, and I know, but you would know more. I didn't have that
Yeah.
album.
It's
So,
like, whoa, you know, I mean, that was, the album was a concert, you know, it was cool. It still is cool.
well, it's just, how people consume music now, back to what Jay said.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've always liked singles because I'm a DJ and I want to pick the hottest stuff to play for people. But for my private
Mhm.
listening, it might be a little different. And
Mhm.
But I mean, you
will
weren't. I'm sorry, Brian. You weren't here the other night when I made the comment. It amazes me now when you look at these albums that took them a year or two to make, and there's 8 songs.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
how did Rumors take a year and a half? There's 8 songs.
Listen to the 8 songs on the album.
But that's the thing; they're so amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And now you look at, and I think it was Def Leppard and Metallica. I want to say Metallica was the first cassette tape to break an hour.
Yeah.
And Def Leppard was like literally on their heels, and they're both managed by the same management company. And it was that, wait a second, there's an entire hour of this? Like, that's insane.
Well, we
Because
talked
I
about
love, Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. It's 38 minutes long.
that was kind
one
of
album.
that was kind of a technology thing because, and I was telling you guys, back to Prince again, the original Prince 1999 CD, the first release of it, didn't have DSMR on it because it wouldn't fit. But the re-release of it a few years later had it on there because CDs had gone, the data, you could put more data on a disc. I think the first ones you could do like 60 minutes. Then they added another 12 minutes. So it went to 72 minutes of audio on a CD.
It was that 740 over
and then it went to
600,
80.
whatever.
80 minutes is the max on a CD now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 80 now?
80. Yeah, 80 minutes.
Okay, because I know it was 72, but they were able to squeeze more tracks on there.
Right.
So
I think that the downside for the 3 of us will always be, and it's the same with my children, you can be inspired and excited by songs and music and artists, but the delivery system does not give it to you in a way that you have to anticipate, wait, or be inspired by what's coming. It's just there. If I say to you,
Yeah.
oh, you're not familiar with the Black Sabbath album? Oh, you go to YouTube and bang, you can listen to the whole thing. We didn't have that. There was a sense of longing. I've often told this story. I'll tell it very, very quickly. I had mowed a lawn for the DeLellises around the corner from my house. I had the money in my pocket. I went to Belmont Music, and on the same day, in probably late April of 1979, I bought The Police, Outlandos D'Amour, and Cheap Trick live at Budokan.
wow, you got a lot of money from online in Boston.
Well, no, not one cutting. This is several.
Okay,
Maybe a
okay.
couple months worth. I think I got
say.
like $5 a cutting.
If you got $3 to $5 a cut, you were lucky.
No. Yeah. So I had to save up. But I remember riding my white Ross 5-speed bike home, getting home and having 2 albums and trying to figure out which one to go with and dropping The Police on first. And I want to say the first track in The Police vinyl is like So Deep or something, and then it worked its way up to
So
Roxanne.
lonely.
So lonely. And just, I mean, I was stunned, but that's how I ingested music. I put it on the first track. I played through side 1. I flipped it and played through side 2, and I read the liner notes, and it was an experience. Music isn't the experience now. Music has become a foregone conclusion that it's just there in the background.
Well,
and it's kind of sad to me. When you say about music that makes sense driving the Mustang, there's music that makes sense during the day that doesn't make sense during the night to me.
everybody, digests it differently. But, maybe instead of shaking our fist at the sky at these kids today, we should just talk about the joy of the concept album, or the joy of songs arranged interestingly on an album, or the joy of having an album, the joy of liner notes. I
wouldn't be here had I not seen Pink Floyd live doing the entire Dark Side of the Moon as a kid. I saw that and I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. It was like the lighting. Oh my God. The quad
I think it's sell acid.
It's like, no, I was completely, geez, I didn't even know what pot was, So I knew what it smelled like after I got to the arena because it was an outside concert. But no, it was a joy. It was like, it was an awakening, let's say. I saw the light. I was ready to walk down, kneel down, and let that pastor hit me on the forehead, I knew what I was going to do.
It's inspiring.
It was ingested in a much different manner because there was that line. There was that knowledge of, oh, wow, the new Little Feat Let It Roll album. Wow, Jackson Browne and James Taylor are doing background vocal. Oh, wait, that's Bonnie Raitt? I didn't know that was Bonnie Raitt playing slide on that. Oh, wait a second. I didn't. And it gave you this sense of, you didn't have much going on. Let's be honest. You had life. You had a vehicle. You had school, you had a girlfriend, you had, that's why when I hear these old songs about a guy picking up his girl, going to a movie, I'm like, it's not romantic, it's life. It's not stoic, it's not archaic, it's not old fashioned, it's reality. That's what we did. I went and put 16 gallons in my little Jeep Grand Cherokee today for $93. And when I did it, I couldn't help but remember putting $5 into my 1968 Plymouth and then taking $5 more and going to a movie with Margot, getting some popcorn, leaving the movie, going to her house, making out in front of her house for like half an hour,
Margot?
And then calling it a night.
Margot was a problem.
Margot Krukanis.
Margot was a problem. Margot. Always Margot.
Which way? But MARGOT?
Wasn't she the Margot at band camp, or was that a different Margot?
No, it's a different Margot. This was my first.
So you had a variety of Margos.
I did. Yes. But the first is the one that it's always going to.
Pastor J of Margos.
Near and dear to the heart.
I heard that she married Izzy Iskowitz from Dewey Cheatham.
There's talk about that. There's talk about Izzy won't disclose.
So
Izzy just bought a new house, by the way, up in Beverly Hills. $8.9 million. You ever wonder where that money comes from?
I don't often put on albums and listen to them. I just don't do it a lot. I'm usually checking out individual songs or arranging songs in order I think is interesting, or listening to a DJ.
I would think you would put an album on. I could see you
don't all the time.
In the dungeon, just going.
The last time I did, and I can't tell you when it was, I really enjoyed it. I put on the very first Foreigner album, the Trenchcoat album. And
I played Needle and I played Damage Done the other night. Love that album.
Neil Young.
No, Damage Done is Foreigner on the first album.
Oh, Foreigner. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Damage Done is a song on the first Foreigner album. I guarantee it. Look it up. I'm not wrong.
I own it.
I do too. Well, it's not. Needle in the Damage Done is Neil Young.
Okay.
The Damage Done is on the very first, because I did my chill Sunday night dive bar. And I played Foreigner, The Damage Is Done.
I tell you the one that I forgot about on that album. And
Rev on the Red Line.
What?
Rev on the Rev Line. On the Red Line. That's on the album too.
I was listening to the album and I heard a song that I hadn't heard in so many years. I hadn't heard it since I was cruising around with my brother when I was a kid. Head Knocker. I forgot all about that track.
That's a great song. That's a really good song. Yeah.
Now, in my brain, for some dumb reason, I wasn't thinking to myself, that's a Foreigner song. I wasn't, but it is, and it's on that album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the last time I threw an album on.
It's a good album. It really is. It's got a lot of good songs on it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it's good.
there's a lot of those out there. But again, we're speaking in a language that somebody under probably 35, 30 doesn't
You
understand when we
say
say,
that, but records are hot right now. I
well,
Yeah,
mean,
no, they
records
are.
are
And I'm
hot,
hoping they come back with
and-
more strength. Last year was the largest sales year for CDs and vinyl in 20 years. Biggest
And
year.
I saw a recent article about, what people are, either Shazamming or Spotifying, and there's some older tunes that they're like, where am I going to get good music? And it's like they're going down a rabbit hole, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack type thing. They're all over the place, but it's all music that we treasure and know.
well, what I find interesting, and it's stuff you always knew, but I don't know, for some reason haven't thought about it or articulated it in quite a way where you could explain it to someone else. But I can remember so many just times in my life when there was some great music out there that I was really into and I was enjoying it and it was fun. And I just didn't have time for anything but that. Like I didn't want to worry about this other stuff because this stuff was so good. It was so good. I talk about country and kind of tongue in cheek, but it's true. Every time I hear a country song, I can't help but think to myself, I could be listening to a Rick James song with my time right now. I'm wasting precious time listening to this country song because I could totally be listening to, Dance with Me or something. But now I can go back and I can check out some of the stuff that I missed the first time. And
That's what I loved about like Ronco and K-Tel Records. And, it's Saturday night and it would be 10 or 12 or 15 songs from all over the map. And you'd suddenly be exposed to different things, and I don't hate on any genre. And I'm always open to hear something like, oh, I kind of like this. I think the problem today is if you say country today versus country when you and I think of country, it's not really the same thing.
No, then that's not what I meant. What I meant was, okay, let's say that you go to this barbecue place, this amazing barbecue place.
Right.
Or let's just say you go to this amazing restaurant row.
Yep.
And there's barbecue and there's pizza and there's steak and there's seafood and there's every kind of food you can think of. And in your brain, you're just totally in the mood for steak.
Right.
You go to the steakhouse because it's the best stuff. It's what you like the most. You get a great cut. You eat it. It's delicious. And then you go down that road again. I need that steakhouse again. And this time you're going to get a different cut. You get a potato with it. Maybe you get some shrimp with it or something,
Sure.
I don't know. You're skipping the Italian joint. Every time you're skipping the Italian joint.
Right.
But the Italian joint is amazing.
Yep.
But you keep skipping it to go to the steakhouse. I'm going to the Italian joint now. I'm going to the Mexican restaurant. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going back and checking out everything that I just didn't have time for because I had to get to the steakhouse. Does that make sense?
And you know what?
It
It makes so much sense. I bet I'm right when I say this. I bet you don't have one Traffic album behind you.
No, I don't.
Yeah. And I bet if you sat down and listened to something like Low Spark of High Heel Boys,
I was just
walk away and think, you know what? This is a freaking amazing song.
amazing.
Oh, no, you don't. Yeah, I don't dislike Traffic.
No. I'm not saying you dislike it. I'm saying now that you're expanding and saying, I'm used to getting steak and potatoes, but now I'm going to try tacos and I'm going to try lasagna. I'm going to try these other things. I think it will only open up and expand your love of music.
Well, it's interesting. Something else I was thinking about. There's a guy that's a DJ. I won't call anybody out.
Does he have a plane?
No, he doesn't have. He's not that cool. Nor does he have a live-in pilot. But he's very into R&B and funk and deep cuts. Like that's his joint. And recently he has been trying to expand into rock because it's something he never paid any attention to.
Sure.
And on social media, I've noticed he's listing these mad lists of artists, like A through Z. but he's doing it in fragments. And he's
Right.
like, today I covered A through M.
That's
Like,
a lot.
Well, maybe it's this week or whatever it is. I
Right.
covered these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a comment on a social media post, and I meant what I said. And I didn't mean any disrespect with this, but I'm thinking to myself, it's not enough to know the artists or even the songs.
No.
It's not enough to know, 20,000 rock tracks. It's everything to know 10 great ones that your audience is going to care about.
Yeah.
Whether it's in their lexicon or not. That's when you hit it. That's when you made it.
Brian, don't you think you can always tell? I think I can. Don't you think you can always tell when the DJ is into what they're playing and when they're not?
Well,
Like-
yeah, of course. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the same is true when someone gets into new music. Don't just say, I looked this up, the top 200 tracks are these. Who cares? If you're not into it, do yourself a favor. Get the top 200 maybe, but then deep dive the artist and find that track you love, because people are so happy when it looks like you're into what you're doing.
well, I'm not into most of the stuff I play at weddings. I'm in,
But I think weddings are a little
I'm
different.
not.
But we're talking more genre specific of, hey, I'm into R&B and funk, but now I'm getting into rock. Get into rock you like for a reason. Don't just throw it out there.
No,
like,
as
I'm
a
playing
listener-
Aerosmith Walk This Way. I've never played Aerosmith Walk This Way.
but as a
ever.
listener, and is a different deal than a DJ.
Right.
It really,
but I think
as a listener, you need to absolutely listen to what you like. As a DJ, you need to live with these tracks, like really live with them, I think,
right.
and absorb them and know how an audience is going to react to them. Now, the only way to know this is to try things or
Right.
rely on requests.
Well,
But if you're, if you're empathetic enough with your audience and you care enough about your audience to listen to your audience, or even the types of people who might be in your audience, let's say you're listening to somebody who's your age, for instance, what you like,
very
spend some
young.
time with that person, find out what they like, find out what they dig, and sample it from several people, then make that choice. And then, know, okay, this is a deep cut.
I mean, I'm confident to say that no one is looking at me saying, when I think mid to early 70s funk, R&B, B-sides, Jay's the guy. But I got a call today for a brewery, excuse me, who came to me through Twitch, through somebody else that said, oh, I got a guy, you should go check him out. And they said, hey, we saw a set you did, some like early 70s funk stuff. We want to hire you to do this event. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, our audience is like young, like 20, 30 somethings, and they're trying to get into like the old school. They love that vibe. And we didn't know anything you played. We caught one of your dive things and that's what we want. And I'm like, great. But it's based on me just saying, I, in my head, can hear this music as a soundtrack to Dirty Harry movies. But I was willing to then go spend some money and buy some music because it all sounded good to me. And I think that that's part of the DJ thing, where you get to deliver things because you're on board. I can always tell when a DJ is not into what they're playing. When a DJ is there doing a Judas Priest, Iron Maiden set, you can see when they're on their phone, like, okay, they can't stand this. And I almost feel like going over saying, dude, just play what you're into, because I think people will enjoy it more. Because there's a sense of when the artist is performing their art, it's better than when someone is dialing it in or just going, here you go.
Well, I mean, I got an offer today to do a Mexican quinceañera, and I say Mexican quinceañera because they're Spanish speaking folks from Mexico. I had the date already booked, but I wasn't the guy for the job. Art couldn't do it. Art was booked and he was trying to throw it to me. I'm like, are you comfortable with it? I'm like, well, okay. Am I the best guy for the job? No. could I do it? Sure, I guess. You know, I could make it happen with requests and lists and things like that. But as far as passion for banda, no, I don't have that.
No.
On the other hand, you know, when I was doing those salsa clubs way back, and it was way back, it's funny to think about it, but it was way back when I was doing salsa clubs. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. And I did it all by ear. I mean, I had these tracks and I knew what tracks were good because I knew what tracks I like to dance to. And would do salsa, merengue, bachata in rotation all night. And you know, I didn't know my music like the other DJs did who came in there and played. I was like the substitute that would come in. But the bar liked me better because I wasn't playing the same crap every week like the other guys were playing.
You weren't hitting the bangers that everyone expected.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't playing, you know, I guess our equivalent to the Cupid Shuffle and Celebration by Kool and the Gang. I was doing different things, you know.
Right. I have a meeting tomorrow, by the way. I just got hired to do a quinceanera.
Yeah.
Now, everything you know about me says, is he the right guy for the job? I'm good friends with the dad, and I know what the dad's into. And if the dad had his way, this would be the first and only Carl Cox-driven quinceanera.
Right.
But he understands it's not the hardcore quinceanera.
Mm-hmm.
His wife is Mexican. He's Filipino.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know you can bridge that gap.
I've got one of those coming up too.
I want some of the quinceanera things, and I'll make a phone call between JC and the 100 DJs I know in this area and say, hey, I've got a quinceanera. Are there certain standard things I have to play? Oh, you have to play these 8 songs. Okay, thank you. And then for the rest of the night, I can dance between those and this and this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I understand where you feel you're not the right DJ, but I also think there's that point of, you know what? I may not be the right DJ, but I can make myself the right DJ.
I can make it happen.
No,
absolutely, I can make it happen. No, to hardline it either way, I think is wrong. You know, just I'm not passionate about, you know,
I'm not
either. Tejano,
but I'm passionate about the event being successful the same way you are.
Right, but am I into what I'm playing? Not really. I mean,
but out of 3 or 4,
you know?
I mean, well, here in California, the quinceanera is 45 minutes long, so it's a lot of music I have to come up with. It's a lot of music.
Just play Selena's greatest hits and go home. Yeah,
I could do that. Do that. I mean, it starts at 4, it ends at 4:30. So, I mean, there's a time frame that I have to fill. I mean, I don't know, Brian, your events, what are they? Probably an hour too long. So, you know, you don't. Well, wait, you're started Saturday and end on Monday, so it's Thursday. Different for you. It is different.
You know, I've got an event similar to the one that you've booked, and it's funny. I'm talking to this guy. He contacts me because I came recommended having a quinceañera for our daughter. Okay, you know, we don't speak Spanish. You know, she just happens to be,
and you're Puerto Rican, so that's right there.
Quarter Latina. I'm like, all right. Well, we really, you know, are just kind of want, you know, like alternative rock stuff. And, you know, I like, you know, 80s music, and my kid likes more alternative kind of stuff. And all right. So I get off the phone with this guy and I'm thinking to myself, why did you just call me and say, we have a daughter who's turning 15. We have a birthday party for her.
Right.
Because there's nothing quinceañera about this.
Right.
They don't want to do anything.
But do you have to do the protocol stuff?
No.
See, I don't know. I got to talk to him tomorrow and find out, because I'm like,
oh, then that's a
what is that thing
party,
called
right.
when they all come out and they do this thing and they do
It's the court. JC will tell you. There's guys and they're like the hombres.
Yeah, it's a court. And I got hired for a bar mitzvah, and the dad calls me and he goes, yeah, I got a bar mitzvah on this date. I was at a wedding you did 3 weeks ago. You killed it. That's what I want. I'm like, okay, I remember that wedding. It was great. I remember the bride and groom. We had a great time. It was a lot of house music. And this is like 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, but there was nothing about that that's a bar mitzvah. He goes,
right.
Trust me. I'll walk you through the section you have to do. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
He goes, I'll give you the song names way ahead of time. You just stand there, play those 5 songs, and then do what you did at the wedding. He goes, it'll be great. I go, so how many people there are under like 21? He's like, there'll be like maybe 30 kids for the bar mitzvah. I go, how many adults? He's like, 150. I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay. So you just want me to, so you want me to play kids music and the bar mitzvah and then just go nuts. He goes, that'll be perfect. It was a great event. But it's the most non-bar mitzvah I've ever done.
I don't know why they call them that. You know, it's like
at that point, it's like we got this old white Irish Catholic guy doing the DJ. Like, this is not making sense.
Right.
But that's the beauty of being a DJ. I don't have to be Jewish. I don't have to be Mexican. I don't have to be anything. I get to show up and give what I know and make people enjoy them.
Agree 100%, but it contradicts be passionate about what you play. That's all I'm saying.
But I'm passionate about the event the same way you are, Brian.
And that's fine. Yeah, but again, it contradicts being into the music you play.
Right. Every event you ever do. Same with Howie, same with JC, same with Robin, same with Tim, same with everyone. We just want the end result to be that they had the best time they could have had.
Of course. Yeah. Why do it if it's not as successful again?
So why look at it from, I'm not passionate about these 10 songs. I'm passionate about the night. I'm passionate about the
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm just saying that your idea of you should play the songs you're into and be passionate about it because it shows if you don't, you just contradicted everything you just said. I'm just
did I really though? Did I really, or did I just blow your mind?
It's okay. I'm with you. Now I'm with you.
No. I think there's both sides. There's the love this, I'll play it.
But to present them as absolutes is bad.
No. If I did, I take that back. There are tracks that in my world I would play only for me. But in an event, the joy of it is to come out on the other side and have people literally look at you and be like, okay, I didn't expect this outcome. That's the goal. Yeah. It's like a book. It's like a novel. The first page says, Brian meets Blanca. They're hanging out at a Latin club. Brian's smoking a Marlboro Light. Blanca comes over and bumps into him mistakenly. Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, at the end of the book, they fall in love. They live together forever and ever, and they get married.
And they never do
Jay is their pastor. I'm sorry?
They never get married.
I'm sorry. Okay. I have a different book
live
that I'm
in
reading.
Sin just to piss everybody off.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
For a long time.
But that's the thing. It's that you start here.
No one knows
like,
what to call
how's this going to go?
Awesome. Yeah.
Right. And the goal is, I'd love it to go this way because I'd love to play this.
Yeah.
But what's even more important is when you play the stuff you don't love, because you need to make it yours. You need to love it for the moment. Not every game is fair. Not every event is easy. We're DJs. We're professionals. We're supposed to get in the trenches, and we have an outcome goal. Fight your ass off to get there, whatever it takes. You may not love every song, but that's okay.
Well, I was just thinking, and I mentioned to you guys that I booked that car show coming up.
Yes, I'm excited about that.
Kind of a high-profile one.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
There may be more to come. It's not just your regular parking lot car show. This is
you're doing the radio. Tell everyone what you're doing. I don't think everyone here knows that.
Oh, it's and I don't know what's going to come of it. I won't get into all the details, but it's the Dan Jansen Foundation. He was a figure skater, or not a figure skater, but a speed skater, I think, and he won gold medals. He's from LaSalle, Wisconsin. And the Dan Jansen Foundation puts on an annual car show, and they do radio spots and TV spots for it and billboards and everything else. And my friend Mike Guy's son, Andrew, is organizing this event, and the foundation is paying for it. So Andrew's reached out to me to be the entertainment for it. So that's about it. It's a car show, but I'm not getting, a free taco and $200 to do it.
No, it's the real deal, bro.
It's a real gig. So
no, you should be proud of this. This is a huge accomplishment.
No, it's not an accomplishment. I just got a call. But
no, I turned it down. I turned it down and I said, call Brian. I mean, I said he'll probably do it.
I can't do it, yeah.
No,
what I'm looking forward to about it though is the car show music, because I don't do what everyone else does. And because most people will put on like the American Graffiti soundtrack.
No.
Right. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. And or the Happy Days soundtrack or
Gap
whatever.
Band and Golden
we-
Earring, Radar Love. That's all you need to know.
we did a show about that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, the same old like car songs. Like, no, these people, they want to listen to what they're listening to now.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
at
not
least
only
it's been
that,
my experience,
what the way, and I talked about it in the show we did, I try to think about who's in the audience. If it's boomers,
right.
okay,
Right.
specifically boomers, I think of my brother. I think about his friends. I think about, because the idea is I'm going to play the songs that were popular when this 57 Chevy was brand new. That's not nostalgic for anybody there.
No.
What's nostalgic is the people who bought that car when it was 15 years old and hot rodded it.
Right.
And we're listening to Peter Frampton,
Yes.
Right.
not the Big Bopper.
Exactly.
Blue Extra
That's the
Cold
difference.
and Fog Hat.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I'll mix it up.
Thunder
Don't get
Island.
me wrong. I'm not going to do an evening of Fog Hat, but
No.
I'm mixing it up a little bit. And
I would do Rumble too. Do Rumble. Do the
I'm
song
considering, that
And-
audience. I'm also considering the lowriders.
Rumble. Oh, do War.
Lowriders.
Well, The lowrider music's deeper than the song Lowrider. There's
No, yeah.
who's a great source for that is Mara Luna, because he was there
Oh, yeah. No, he's
and
Yeah.
he's privy me to some stuff that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
What were the
he's
lowrider
amazing.
guys?
He's the
listening to?
B side of like the Cool in the Gang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
which is a track I have that's like you listen to it, you're like, oh, this is not ladies' night or celebration. at
Right?
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because he's telling me no, it wasn't just War and Santana.
No.
It was
We're
Steely
far
Dan.
more.
It was
Right.
it was the Jacksons. It was all this stuff that was
Blame it on the
getting
boogie.
cranked on Whittier. I mean, that's the stuff that was getting
Right.
played.
Yep.
Mhm.
So it's all over the place. But yeah, I'm
but-
looking forward to that because I
But
can,
that's good.
you
I
know,
mean, Brian, if you
Well,
and I
then-
were plumbers, we would have, we snake a drain and then we do this and it's a PVC pipe and it's always 1/4 inch this and it's always this. It's a constant. We know what to
Yeah.
do every time. The beauty of what we do, and hence I say what we are, is that we get to walk into a room full of people who have a completely different dynamic involved and yet look at them and say, I got you.
I'm going to tell you a quick story before I
That's
turn this
the
over to
joy
Howie,
of my job.
because Howie's got something he
I
wants to
got
talk
you.
about at the end.
Is
of the
Howie
show.
here tonight?
I don't have anything.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, there's Howie. Oh,
Remember at the end of the show?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. For the end of the show. Okay.
I was just going to hammer my point home, which is probably a complete redundant thing, but I have a story to tell.
go for it.
And it's not my story to tell. It's actually my son-in-law's story to tell, but I think it's a good story. So
Harris?
Saturday, we had a beautiful day. And he's got the 66 Thunderbird. I need
Nice
some work.
car.
It was Mikey's car. It's now Eris's car. So he gets up in the morning and he goes for a drive up and down the main drag, which is the one in front of my house. He goes down almost to downtown, turns around and comes back. So he's heading home and there's a brand new, like brand spanking new, still with dealer plates, like the dealer
The
up
paper
here.
plates.
We have those where it's like, Bob's Ford, whatever. It still had those plates on the front of it. It's a brand new Cadillac CTS or whatever it is, the cool Cadillac,
Oh, the
sedan.
4-door one or the
Yeah.
2-door one? Yeah.
right on his ass, like gonna hit him.
Why?
And he's like, what is going on with this car? He tries to slow down. The car slows down, tries to speed up. The car speeds up. He pulls over to one lane. The car pulls over in that lane. He's like, this is creepy, man. I don't dig this at all.
Yeah.
This went on for blocks. Finally, he comes to a light and it's 4-lane. So there's a lane next to him. He pulls up. The Cadillac pulls up next to him. The window goes down. It's this 80-year-old black lady. And she looks over and says, is that a 64? 66. Do me a favor. When the light turns green, let me get behind you. I want to look at it a little longer. So all kinds of people are into cars.
That's
Is what
awesome.
I was getting at with this.
That's
It's
awesome.
Right.
not just Rock Around the Clock. It's not just Fog Hat. It's not just
Mhm.
Santana or whatever. It's all kinds of stuff. So you got to know your
Exactly.
audience and you got to know what the triggers are. And I think it makes for a really unique experience for all of them. So that's why I'm looking forward to doing it.
That's a great point. That's a super great point. Yeah. No, it
Very
shouldn't
good.
just be, Beach Boys 409. I'll play this 15
Right.
times.
Right.
Play songs with the cars in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got, but
Play Little Red Corvette.
you know what? You make a point that works for weddings, bar mitzvahs, and everything else, Brian. You have to look at the crowd. I mean,
Right.
what we do for a living is not play music. We read a crowd.
Yeah.
We're bringing 85,000 songs plus the internet. I've now got Tidal I can stream. There's 25 million songs on Tidal. What good is it if I don't know what to do with it? I'm not a chef. If I go into the grocery store with a chef and they go, hey, let's make meatloaf tonight, I go, great. I'll get some ground beef. I know I need an egg and maybe some breadcrumbs. I'm good. And all of a sudden they're buying every spice in the aisle. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? We're making meatloaf. I need this. Oh, I guess I didn't understand. But as a DJ, I do understand. I understand that when I look at a crowd in front of me, I have to hit everyone in that crowd at some point. So I think your point is so valid by mentioning just because it's a car show, you don't just play, Wipeout. You don't just play
Right.
this.
You can't.
Yeah.
But we've all been to those car shows, right? Where the DJ plays Wipeout like on repeat.
You look into your audience, you see who's there, and you play to them.
Right.
Because they're all there. If they're older folks, they're there
Their
for
stories
nostalgia.
are different.
They're there for nostalgia. If they're younger, they're there to learn. But if they're older, they're there for nostalgia. So
Right.
I just things I'm looking forward to, and a really good reason to as we say, read the room. Where in this case, I'll be reading the parking lot.
Yep. No, 100%. And I'm looking forward to this too, because it's a big deal. I think you're downplaying it. You've been asked to come in and help program not only a podcast and car shows.
Well, we didn't get into that. We'll get
we
into
didn't,
that.
but I'm doing it for you. This
No,
is
I
an
haven't been
actual
asked to do that
big
yet.
deal.
It could
Well,
be
you're
asked to
going
do
to
that.
be.
I don't know.
And I can sense where this is going. You're going to pretty much be running all the music for a huge car generation, doing shows in your area. That's a big thing. You should be proud of yourself on that, dude.
Well, there's no.
And it circles back to what he had mentioned before about playing music you love to play. He's going to be able to do that there.
Yeah.
I'll play music that I feel like that the
we'll be able
audience
to
loves.
tell. If you're podcasting, we'll be able to look at you and tell if you're enjoying what you're doing.
Oh no,
And
it's
you will be.
And that's a story for another day that we'll talk about on another show.
I would play Darling by Beach Boys, by the way, because that's a dope song not played enough. Darling by Beach Boys. Trust me, if you're listening to this now and you need a good Beach Boys song, listen to Darlin' sometime. Darlin. You'll trust me. You'll thank me.
So we only have a minute or two left. Howie has something.
Howie, you got the floor. I will not interrupt.
Right.
Talk about.
Hey, hearkening back to yesteryear, 2018, Irish pub, and it's raining like hell. The famous picture of the tarp over the DJ equipment and the DJs, and the really tall guy right in the forefront of the picture is Mr. Bob Powell, who had a bout with COVID-19, was in the hospital for over 50 years. Sent me this. Brian got one as well. It's his.
Did you say you're in the hospital for over 50 years?
He did. I didn't want to say anything.
No, I'm sorry. 50 days. I'm 50 days.
50 days and 50 years is different.
Yeah. Way.
I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, wow.
He went in when he was 2 and he got out last year.
Anyway, a shout out to Bob. Thank you so much. I know that a lot of you other folks out there got these shirts too, and I've been meaning to do this, and I forgot to give him a shout out.
I got my shirt. It's 2 flights up. I got a lovely note from Bob. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Beautiful notes to everybody. He loves the insiders, and he's always wearing the shirt, and he loves the people in the chill room. I got in the note, and he asked me to thank all of you in the chill room.
He's doing well now.
And yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes. He's back.
Yep. Yeah, he's back.
He is back.
Because we're talking, I mean, I don't want to bring it down too much, but we're talking back Jimmy Spin days, 2018, correct?
Well, Jimmy was there. He was covering Jimmy's stuff.
That's my point.
He was protecting Jimmy's stuff. Yeah. Jimmy had the Evolve 50 set up. Yeah.
Yeah. Just going to get a quick shout out to our boy, Jimmy Spin.
Of course. And and that just goes without saying.
Nope.
That just goes without saying. Jimmy was a friend to all of us. And
Oh yeah.
but you know what? The thing with Jimmy and the way I look at it, I know I look at these type of things differently than a lot of people may, but Jimmy's always with me.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's always here in this room. As far as I'm concerned, he's always here. And he lives through all of us because he's inspired and influenced all of us. And now we are the caretakers of the spirit.
Yes.
So I don't
Couldn't agree more.
I don't
it's not an ending, it's a continuation. Actually, hold on.
It's an honor and a privilege that I don't take lightly. How's that sound? That I carry his spirit here.
Jimmy's actually speaking to me right now.
Beautifully said.
Hold on. What's that? He wants to know why you're wearing a crisscross jacket or hoodie there, Brian.
Because I'm cold.
Oh, okay. He's cold, Jimmy.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all of you for doing it and putting up with Jay. Thank you for that.
Where are you?
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.